It's daylight savings in New Zealand today. Now, for all our Indian viewers, if you don't know what daylight savings is, it's basically twice a year we move our clocks forward or backward. And the way to know that is when it's we say spring forward. So when it's spring, we move the clocks forward. But when it's fall, which is right now, we move the clocks back. What that means for me is I used to start watching games at 3 o'clock in the morning New Zealand time, but unfortunately from today I have to start watching them from 2 o'clock in the morning. So basically less sleep for me. So if I go on a ramble or a rant today for no rhyme or reason, you know why that is. Well, we spoke about daylight savings. We also saw daylight between two teams today. One team playing like a well oiled machine, and the other one struggling at the bottom of the table. It was the battle of the Royals, the Rajasthan Royals versus the Royal Challengers Bengaluru. As we can see from that scorecard, Bengaluru batting first, putting on 183 for 3 in 20 overs. Um, at that halfway stage, we always thought that that score was a bit below par. Rajasthan Royals coming out all guns blazing, um, easily cruising home. 189 for 4 in the 20th over. Don't let that scorecard fool you and make you think that it was a close game. It wasn't. They were always in control and they could have finished it whenever they wanted. Um, Sarvesh, right at the beginning, let's talk about the surface because that's what we do. 183 for 3 on that surface wasn't going to be enough, and we kind of had that feeling, didn't we?
Yeah. So I think we all know the kind of surface normally Jaipur has in store for us, and I think even today. Uh, there were not a lot of deliveries which trouble batters. I mean, so when spinners were bowling. I think Virat pointed this out that there were a few deliveries which were holding a bit, but I think there was not a lot in the surface. Probably in the middle overs, Chahal and Ashwin bowled really well, and they used the surface well. But I think apart from that middle phase, it looked like a good surface to bat. And when you get that feeling when RCB is playing, then as a fan, as a RCB fan, one must be thinking that if this pitch has 190 in store, then we need to get at least 205 or 210. So that's the kind of surface we had today. It felt like 195 around or 200. I think would be a good score. But the way things were going, I think RCB needed like probably 25 runs more, probably 210. So I think that was the surface that we had today.
Yeah, well said. I mean, you rightly pointed out that when you are an RCB supporter, you always have that feeling that with the kind of bowling lineup that they have, they're always going to need a total that is about 15 or 20 runs above par for the surface. They've not been getting that. Now, two ways of looking at that innings from Virat Kohli today. He's played a brilliant innings, 113 of 72. He's played well over 50% of the balls. In fact, I think I made a
Yeah.
small calculation to say that he's played about 64% of the deliveries available, and he's got about 62% of the team's total. So you can say that, simple math will tell you that if somebody else had to play those deliveries, then they would have probably got more out of it or whatever. But that's not how things work because nobody else is getting anything in that top order. So Virat is stuck between a hard rock and a stone, wherein the buck stops with him. He's got to play that kind of an innings
Yeah.
because nobody else is giving him anything.
Yes, absolutely. The Glenn Maxwell of last season, let's put him in this setup, and probably Virat would have said, okay, now somebody is there to help me out, so probably he would have accelerated a bit more. But nobody, like you said, nobody was there. Once Faf got dismissed, I think Maxwell had that opportunity to come in early and stamp his authority, but that did not happen again. And then they had plenty of batters to go. They had Cameron Green, they had Rajat, they had DK. I mean, with DK we know that he bats down the order, but they had Cameron Green to bat there. But they chose Saurav Chauhan. I think it was a surprise move in my opinion. So I think they got a few things wrong in that batting order. Batting personnel, I think they needed somebody else there, and also the kind of performances that Maxwell is putting out even today. I think that is that is hampering RCB's middle over success, and that is again reflecting in that scorecard.
I mean, I guess if we dial a little back to the actual team selection, and we've said this about RCB, that a lot of their strategy and decision making doesn't make a lot of sense. Mahipal Lomror,
Yeah,
who's been in brilliant touch, if you're batting first, he's definitely got to be in your 11, isn't he? Because he's one of the informed batters that you have, yet you decide to leave him out, and then you pick a new guy called Saurav Chauhan in, which, no disrespect to him, he might have the credentials and everything to back him, but playing at the IPL and is taking that next step up is something different. He comes ahead of Cameron Green,
yeah.
of Dinesh Karthik. Um, what was the thought process behind that? I mean, I know he's a left-hander, and probably that was the reason. But really, Mahipal Lomro should have
Yeah.
been in that position.
Yeah, first thing I agree that Lomro should have been there in that setup, because in last two games I think he was the only one who was scoring quick runs for them down the order. DK also did that, but I think Mahipal Lomro's impact was a lot more. So I think he deserved to start. And second thing, Saurav Chauhan has started this game, but I felt they just wanted to ease him in. They didn't want him to bat in over number 18 or 19. So I think that was the thinking behind that they sent him up, but that did not work out. And they had lot of batters to go. They had Cameron Green, they had Rajat, they had Dinesh Karthik. Even Mayank Thakur can bat a bit down the order. He can hit it. So I think there were plenty of resources available, and I think it was a case of slightly a case of misusing of those resources. I think they did not use those resources optimally.
Now, he did get a little bit of support, Virat did,
Yeah,
from Faf du Plessis. But when you score 44 of 33
yeah,
balls, you really need to go on
yeah.
and then make sure you're catching up. Because if you play that many number of balls and then you get out, the incoming batter is just going to be under pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean we are not seeing the Faf of last season. This is different. Today, it felt like he is finally getting that kick in, but his catch was dropped just before he got dismissed. So I felt maybe now he would capitalize, and he would take he would up the ante. At the end of over number 6, I think at the over number 7, they were around 62 for no loss. And during those 7 overs, Ashwin had bowled 2 overs for 10 runs. Now, with two right-handers batting in and an off-spinner coming in these days, you will feel that they should have scored at least 10 more runs of him. But that's Ashwin for you. He's a very smart operator. But that also tells you that the power play and the start, like you pointed out, that wasn't great. And Faf, the 44 from 33, I think he had to carry on and convert that into a big one, because that's when his strike rate would normally go up. But that did not happen. He got dismissed.
Right, let's not shift our attention to the main course of that innings. Virat Kohli's 100.
Yeah,
We didn't. I mean, it was a typical Virat innings. He scored. We've seen this many a times from him. He goes hard in the power play, then he starts taking his runs hard between the wickets during the middle overs. Brilliant at placing the balls. Then, kind of towards the end of the innings, he makes up. Do you get the feeling though today in that 19th and 20th over, the fact that he was so close to that 100 might have just kind of come in the way of him going all guns blazing and kind of really giving them the finish that they wanted? Because Faf du Plessis in his post-match interview also said that they got about 10-15 runs
yeah.
short in those last couple of overs.
Yeah, they were short by 15, 20 runs. In fact, in my opinion, around 20 runs short. At least I would say 20 runs short, because that's the kind of bowling RCB have. Now, remember last season when MI were playing, the batters were prepared to score those extra 15 to 20 runs when they were going to bat, because they knew their bowling is not the strongest this season. That season, I mean the last season. And they were also prepared that whenever their batters go out to bat first, they were also prepared to score those extra 15 to 20 runs, because they knew their bowlers need more protection, so they had to score more. So I think that was the understanding that MI had last season. I think somewhere down the line, I think these batters, RCB batters, will have to do the same thing. They will have to get those extra runs. I mean, whoever is the batter, Faf, Virat, or anyone, DK, all these guys will have to get 15, 20 runs extra above par. So if today 195 was the par, that they should probably look to get 210 or 15. So I think that's the kind of understanding they need in this team.
I guess that innings of Virat's puts him well and truly above everybody else as far as the leading run scorer in IPL 2024 is. He is the orange cap holder at the moment. Um, but statistics never tell you the full story, do they, Sarvesh? Because what we are seeing here is typical RCB
Yeah,
behavior. Because last year also we discussed this, and we discussed this in our preview, that they were getting 70% of their runs from their top
top
three.
three. Yeah,
If we were if we were to look at this year, Virat's there and he's scoring all the runs.
yeah,
There's nobody else in the top 10 for them.
yeah,
And where are they on the table? They are right at the bottom now
yeah.
with 4 losses out of 5. Um, the strike rate is marginally better than what his career strike rate is. It's at 146. So that intent that we keep talking about, is clearly visible that he's trying really hard to kind of, break out of his own shell. And the average has always been brilliant. He's averaging 105. It is a World Cup, T20 World Cup year, and there's a lot of talk around Virat Kohli's position in that World Cup side. Um, I guess if he keeps scoring and if he has a stellar IPL, and if that strike rate keeps getting closer and closer to 150, then it becomes very difficult because you cannot leave a champion like him out, can you?
Yes, I mean you'll also have to look at the dynamics and who is batting because Jaiswal is struggling right now. I think 4 innings he hasn't scored, so I think there's also a case for him to bat with Rohit in the top order with Rohit. I mean for the opener spot because Jaiswal is not nailed on. Shubman, we just saw that he just got his first good innings of the IPL. So I think there are a lot of free spots, a couple of blank spots in that top order. I mean, anyone could fit in depending on the form. And you pointed out, IPL is always a good platform to judge these players because even Surya Kumar Yadav, he's coming from an injury. Nobody knows, how that top four is going to look like and who is going to be in top form and who is going to do what. So I think it's that in that top four, I think there are a few slots blank. Question marks are there. I think anybody can because we have all the quality in our team, so anybody can fill in the spots.
Absolutely. If we can go back to that summary scorecard of ours and let's see what the bowlers did. So obviously you mentioned about the two spinners, Ashwin and Chahal, 2 for 34 for Chahal, none for 28 for Ravi Ashwin. So as always, economical, both of them, and getting good support from Nandre Berger today as well.
Yeah.
4 overs, 1 for 33, bowled with a lot of pace and a lot of fire. Um, they just seem like a complete bowling attack. I mean, one anomaly was that Trent Bolt didn't pick up a wicket
Yeah.
in his first over, but apart from that, this is arguably the best well-rounded bowling attack in the tournament.
I think when they started, I felt they had a bowler shot because when they bat first, they normally what they do is they normally play with 6 batters, then Ashwin and the 4 genuine bowlers who don't bat a lot. That's their combination, and they just go normally and they see if they require that extra batter. If they do, then what they do is they at the end of the 15th or 16th over, they would look to get that extra batter in as an impact sub, and they would probably send somebody from the top order out to make that substitution happen. But I think today when they were bowling first, they went with 5 pure bowlers, and there was no Sandeep Sharma to bowl those death overs, and there was no sixth bowling option apart from Riyan Parag. And if somebody then has a bad day at the office, then you are in trouble because we know Trent Bolt hasn't been at his best when he's bowling at the back end of the innings. And Andre Berger, this is his first season. I mean anything can happen. And apart from that, they had Avesh Khan, so there were not of lot of great resources available. And I felt they were not in a position to even use that impact sub because if you get an impact sub early as another bowler, then your batting becomes then you have a one batter shot in your batting while you are chasing. So that also becomes a factor. So I felt they managed those resources well. Ashwin, 4 overs, 28 runs for no wicket. I mean that no wickets is not a problem, but he is bowling economical overs at the top, 2 set batters. And I think that's a very good achievement. And Yuzi Chahal, we all know he's in great touch. He's also leading the purple cap race. So I think these two guys, Ashwin and Chahal, uh, they are they are doing a fantastic job for them. I mean, the team is considering in excess of 180, but their figures are not that bad. In fact they are good.
Yeah. One quick question around that. We've seen that whenever Ravichandran Ashwin and UZCL are attacked,
Yeah.
um, it kind of throws them off their game a bit. Um, RCB really needed Glenn Maxwell to be that guy coming in and doing that attacking. But RCB is not getting anything from Glenn Maxwell so far in this IPL with the bat for sure.
Yeah.
Um, there is a guy called Will Jacks who is a hard hitting right hand batter, bowls a bit of off spin like Maxwell. We are 5 matches down. RCB is 5 matches down into this tournament. Do you see them making a change on that front? Because we've already discussed Faf and we've said he's captain, so he cannot go. But do you see maybe Maxwell being given a bit of a break and maybe trying out Will Jacks in the next game?
I think it depends. I think what I feel is that they would want to give a longer rope to Glenn Maxwell. They would want to keep him in the side because he is somebody. If he fires, then he's a match winner. He will win games on his own. So I think that's the kind of backing Maxwell has got till now. You never know if it changes in future because again he was a key player. They retained Glenn Maxwell in that last mega auction. So he's somebody who is part of that core along with Virat Kohli. So I think they have shown a lot of faith in him. So I think if not Maxwell, then they'll probably will have to uh, get that overseas bowler out and then just field that top six with all the good batters and try to get as many as possible. Because Reece Topley, if he's not playing, then probably they have other options available in Vijay Kumar Vaishak and even Akash Deep is there. So I think they have the resources in bowling. I think they could probably do that. They could probably just go all Indian in their seam bowling attack, and then they should go all for overseas in their batting attack. I think this is one thing I feel is coming, and we might see this happen in next few games.
Yeah, it's a mystery. Glenn Maxwell's always been a mystery for me.
Yeah,
On his day, he can single-handedly win you a game, but then he goes through these phases of really comical dismissals, first of all, and secondly, a lot of shots that when he himself will look at the replay of the shot that he played today, I don't think he's going to be very proud of that shot. But that's Maxwell for you. You take
yeah,
the good with the bad with him. The other mystery with RCB, as you said, is Vijay Kumar Vishak. Had a great performance in one game, and then we've not seen him again. So I don't know what's happening on that front either. But yeah, we just move on by saying, well, that's RCB for you.
yeah.
Let's get back to the run chase and see what the Royals did right that RCB couldn't. Um, I guess when you're chasing 183, you need a good start, which they didn't get because Yashasvi Jaiswal once again, falling short. Falling short in the sense he got dismissed pretty cheaply. This is his fourth failure in the tournament,
Yeah.
so a bit of pressure on the young lad. But then Joss Butler, who's not done much in this tournament, and Sanju Samson, who had a good start but had a couple of failures in the tournament after that, both of them getting together and absolutely making a mockery of this RCB
Ranches,
bowling
yeah,
attack.
yeah, absolutely. So Josh Butler, he was not having a great IPL this season, and the last entire season was not good for him. We spoke about him in a preview that Josh Butler is not the same Josh Butler that we are seeing these days. So I think he had to, he had to come up with some answers, and this is the answer that we are seeing today. A big target, and I mean, it was a sort of I won't say he was on the verge of getting dropped or something because again like Maxwell, this team backs Josh Butler a lot. He's a deputy to Sanju Samson, so he's that kind of a player. But your star batters, they have to get going at this stage, and you don't want these guys to be under pressure when you are nearing the business end. I mean, I keep saying this that you have to get going in the earlier phase so that you are in a good mental state when you are in the business end. So I think he did just that, and it felt like it was the old Josh Butler because I when I messaged you that that over number 5 and over number 4 is when Josh Butler normally looks to score those quick runs, and that's where he gets going. And in those 2 overs, I think he got 19 from around 18 or 19 from 12, 11 deliveries. That's where he got going, and then in sixth over as well, he just cashed on, and he was just looking to score some quick runs. And once that power play was over, I think there was some very ordinary bowling, that also helped him. I mean, no, I would like to give a lot of credit to the way he played, but but that bowling didn't help RCB as well. So I think it was that kind of a game where everything fell in place for Josh Butler. The kind of opposition, the bowling attack, the scoreboard, his shots were going into the gaps, and everything was just falling in place for him. And he had a perfect partner of Sanju Samson. I mean, he was also scoring quick runs in power play, so that pressure was never mounted on Josh Butler, so he could just take some time at the beginning, and then he just got going. And once he got going, I mean, he didn't stop till the end.
Yeah, I guess the difference between the Royal Challengers Bangalore and the Rajasthan Royals is the fact that Virat was doing everything on his own over
Yeah,
there, whereas here they were
Samson.
it was happening at both ends.
Yeah,
So equal kudos to both Josh Butler as well as Sanju Samson,
absolutely.
going at brilliant strike rates, 172 for Josh Butler, 164 for Sanju Samson. But that's what happens when you're in a partnership and runs are flowing from both ends. The bowlers are under pressure,
Yeah,
and which means the bad deliveries come more often to you,
yeah,
and life just becomes so much easier. Um, there was a moment in that whole innings which really I found to be very fascinating, and just shows you the kind of team culture and environment that there is in the Rajasthan Royals. Butler got to his 100 off the last shot of the game. Um, the person who was happier than Butler that he got the 100 was Shimron Hetmeyer at the other end. He
yeah,
was jumping around in joy, pumping his fists and doing the whole David Warner kind of celebration. And it was just one of those things, like makes you feel really happy seeing that he is so happy for his partner's success. So just tells you that that team is in a good environment, they're in a good headspace, everybody's wanting the other person doing well. And 4 wins out of 4 now, top
yeah.
of the table. And yeah, this is looking really good for the Royals this year.
Yeah, if they get next 6 wins from the remaining, how many games are remaining out of 10? So that's 60% win ratio. They'll still top the table, or they will be still in top two, is what I feel. So they just need that win ratio at 60%, and they should be okay. Even at maybe at 40%, they would still be there because of that net run rate. So I think they are in a very good shape right now. I think they are. I mean, it will take something extraordinary for RR to not qualify for the knockout. So I think this team is surely going to be there.
Uh, let's see if there was any glimmer of hope or anything noteworthy in that bowling performance by RCB. As we can see, Reece Topley, he had a scratchy start in that first game, but coming good in this one, 2 for 27 from his four, so he did his job well. Um, Apart from that, nothing much to write home about. I mean, Mohammad Siraj bowled. I thought he bowled quite well. Um, and still, when you look at 8.75, he's still under the
Yeah,
required run rate for the game. So he was good, but nothing else from the others. And especially their spinners, you can see the difference.
yeah,
Um, that Mayank Dagar and Himanshu Sharma, 4 overs for how much is that? 50 and
yeah,
63
yeah,
from their 4 overs compared to what Ashwin and Chahal did for
yeah.
the Royals in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a difference. I mean, there was no quality spinner in that team. Mayank Thakur is still a new commodity. He's not the seasoned spinner that you have in your side. So he played a few games for SRH last season, and now he's playing regularly as a first choice spinner. And there is no Karan Sharma in this lineup, because Karan Sharma, we have seen him a lot in the past. He has played for a lot many franchises, and he has won a lot of trophies with them as well. I think they trusted Himanshu Sharma instead of Karan Sharma. I think they must have seen something in the nets, but again, it did not come out well for him. He was just under the pump, because there was a set Josh Butler who was looking in good mood along with Sanju Samson, and when these guys are in that kind of a killer mood, then I think any spinner would go for runs. So I mean, it was that kind of a day for Himanshu Sharma. I mean, it's not a great day to make your debut. We keep talking about this. I talked about Shams Mulani and how he was playing his first few games against that hot and fiery SRH batting lineup, and it was a similar case with Himanshu. I hope they will give him more opportunities. But I think, like you pointed out, the spinners, they did not have a good day, and I think that was a major difference.
Right. So, all in all, a pretty forgettable day for RCB, except for the 100 from Virat, and a very memorable day for the Royals.
Yeah,
What does this do? I guess two things to look at since we are speaking about the positioning. There we have it. Bengaluru played five, just won the solitary game. Mumbai with two games in hand over them. So if Mumbai get a win, or a couple of wins, they'll definitely displace Bangalore there.
yeah,
And Delhi playing tomorrow. Delhi
yeah,
and Mumbai actually playing tomorrow. So one
exactly.
of those two teams is definitely going to get 2 points, which means if Delhi win, they go on to four. Bengaluru drops further,
Yeah,
and if Mumbai win, then Mumbai climb up, maybe ahead of Delhi if
yeah,
their net run rate is better.
yeah.
Um, Rajasthan, on the other hand, top of the table, as you said, they're knocking on that door for qualification. The door's not yet opened, but someone is on their way to open it for them. So they're just waiting outside the door at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking good and looking absolutely strong. Um,
Yes.
Anything else that you'd like to bring up from this game, Sarvesh,
So
before we call it a night?
I think by the end of tomorrow, I think we will have a decent idea of who is going to make it to that top four. Because now, right now, since RCB has lost, so they have lost 4 games out of 5. They are just on 2 points. So in the from the remaining 9 games, they need to pick up at least 7 wins to get to that 16 points, and then they will also hope that they will have a better net run rate. So that's a huge ask, and 7 from 9 itself is a challenge. And if their net run rate is not good, I mean, it has to be good because if you're winning 7 out of 9 games, the net run rate has to be good. So I'll hope that at
Yeah.
16 points will be enough. But 7 out of 9 is a very tough ask. And by the end of tomorrow, Delhi and Mumbai will play each other. If Mumbai loses that game, they will also be in a similar territory as Bangalore. They will also require 8 out of 10 wins. That is again a very difficult task. So I think by the end of tomorrow, we will probably have two sides, who we would feel that they are not going to make it to that top four. And I think we are now moving to that kind of a territory where we can easily see who is going to be there in that top four, and we can see now we can start eliminating teams from that calculation, not mathematically, but just based on some logical explanations. I think we can start doing that. And I think the other game tomorrow is Lucknow versus Gujarat. That should be an interesting one because if Gujarat wins, they suddenly climb up to number 3. And if LSG
Three, yeah.
win, yeah, if LSG win, they also can go to number. They will go to number 3 most probably because of the net run rate is not good. But yeah, they'll LSG will go to number 3. In fact, sorry. So I think that race for top 4 is also getting uh, to the business end.
Yeah, and it also means that we're seeing two teams who have lost their previous game in Delhi and Mumbai
Yeah,
playing out tomorrow, and two teams who have won their previous game in Gujarat and
and Lucknow.
Lucknow.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is we get another look at Mayank Yadav tomorrow because Lucknow is playing, and yeah, that boys really excited me in the sense that every time he's on screen, I make sure that I'm watching, and the eyes immediately go to the speed gun to see, oh, what was the speed of that? Oh,
So
what was
the
the speed of that?
so he comes and bowls. We look there, and immediately after that we look down for the speedometer. Then we again look
Yes,
up. So that's the kind of routine that we have been following with Mayank Yadav.
absolutely. And hopefully he has a good game tomorrow also. Well, that's that for tonight. We love doing this podcast, the Snickometer podcast, as we call ourselves. If you haven't subscribed, please do it now. We are looking at building a subscription on YouTube, so please do help us with that. Follow us on Twitter, like, comment, share, give us feedback, tell us where we can improve. Tell us if you have any questions. I mean, we are happy to take questions on the show as well. So if you've got any burning questions that you want to ask, please throw them on any of our social media channels, and we will happily answer them on the days that we come up, which is pretty much every single day. All right. Until tomorrow, have a great day. It is Sunday now. No, it's Saturday night in Mumbai. It is Sunday morning in Wellington. And until tomorrow, it's a goodbye from Sarvesh, from Rahul, and from the Snick Cometer podcast. Thank you very much.